Welcome back to Been There, Watch That. This week it's my pick. My name's Justin. I'm here with Dave and Joe. And we've reviewed 57 movies up to this point. Seen a lot of great talents: Robin Williams, Hilary Swank, Morgan Freeman, many others. But this week we've got a new kid on the block, possibly an even bigger talent, Mr. Timothy Treadwell from the 2005 documentary Grizzly Man.
Really, Justin, you're gonna hype it up that bad?
I thought I was gonna say, wow, what a hype for a documentary.
Yep.
Justin, I would expect it out of Dave, but I thought you knew better. I mean, even though it is your pick, I was
Man,
A shining star.
and
Really.
it comes out as a devastating and heart-rending take on grizzly bear activists. How, how do you classify him as an activist
Yeah.
exactly? I mean, that's a stretch.
Yeah, I watched this one. It was free on YouTube, so I watched it on YouTube and got quite a kick out of scrolling through some of the comments. I mean, there's people that are saying, in no way, shape, or form is this guy an expert or a preservationist or anything. He's just a guy.
That's the biggest question I have. What did he do during the winter? Where did he go? Because he stashed his gear with the one lady, and then he went somewhere for 9 months out of the year. Where did he go? What did he do?
what I was wanting to know is what did he do for income to cover these
13
expenses?
trips to Alaska.
Yeah, for months, literally months on end.
Yeah, and people were asking, how did he pack that much food in? Like, what did he eat for multiple months? That'd be a lot of food you have to pack
Now,
in.
he's listed as an American environmentalist. American environmentalist.
You want to do the rundown, Joe, just to
Yeah, to get everybody caught up to speed.
yes, they know what.
Yeah, what are we talking about? Holy cow.
Yeah, this has left us in such shambles here. All right, so the movie Grizzly Man, pieced together from Timothy Treadwell's actual video footage, Werner Herzog's remarkable documentary examines the calling that drove Treadwell to live among a tribe of wild grizzly bears on an Alaskan reserve. A devoted conservationist with a passion for adventure, Timothy believed he had bridged the gap between human and beast. When one of the bears he loved and protected tragically turns on him, the footage he shot serves as a window into our understanding of nature and its grim realities.
I'm just going to start off by saying, A, I don't classify him as an environmentalist
Thank
or
you.
an activist or that he protected anything.
Preach, preach, a little louder for the people in the back.
Yeah, his whole tirade against like the Park Service
Oh,
because they're
gosh.
basically telling him you can't just camp in this one spot all summer around these bears. You got to move every 7 days.
Well, they have rules to
Yeah.
protect people,
Yeah.
and that was, gosh, I'll say that right off the bat. That was my biggest beef with everything, was that he, I forget how they stated it, but he humanized the bears. That's not right.
Gave them all names. And,
Well, he made the bears
Right.
familiar with humans so that they thought all humans were friendly and they should be approached,
right.
which is not what you do with wild animals. You want
Right.
them to be wary and to, not want to come into where you're camping and try to get your food and come up on people. You don't want that. Not when they're in the wild.
No.
I mean, if it's a zoo, maybe a little different deal, like a petting zoo.
Right.
Yeah, you work with it. But man, out in Alaska in a reserve where they're already protected, leave them alone.
Well,
people.
literally in the middle of nowhere that there it takes a lot of places hours to get medical attention.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and what this is makes me fear for people like you. I've been seeing here and there, like Yellowstone. You get these knuckleheads that are just stupid that walk up on like a bison or something or a moose, and then they get stomped or hit, and and it's always like, oh, tourist gets hit, and I'm like, good. Leave the wild animals alone. It's one thing to take pictures of them, but don't get out of your car and try to approach them and all that good jazz.
Right.
If you do, you deserve it.
Yeah.
The animal's wild. They're going to protect themselves.
Yeah, keyword wild.
Yeah. I don't know. This whole thing set me off. I was like, man, this is craziness. This guy's a moron. And at first, I felt sorry for him because the helicopter guy, I don't know what else to call him, but the helicopter guy was very, very blunt right in the beginning of the movie. And he's like, that guy's just an idiot.
Yeah.
He deserved to get killed, and the worst thing he did, and what really got me sad was he's like, that poor girl. The worst thing this guy did was drag that poor girl out there.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's just mean. Why would you say that about somebody? And then I watched the video. I was like, never mind, I got it.
Yeah. Yeah, not only does he get eaten at the end, spoiler alert, but
Yeah.
his girlfriend also. And the way they structure the documentary, they don't like save that for the very end. It
Yeah.
comes out pretty early. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
here's how this is going to end, and then they fill you in with all the details.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. They show you the picture and say, well, let's show you how the puzzle was made.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, because they interview a Native American gentleman, and he basically says, like, my ancestors for 7,000 years understood, like, there's this boundary between
Yeah.
the bear and man. You don't, like, go up and pet him.
Well, and I thought that was just like, he had that understanding with his ancestors. I just thought it was common sense, but that's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is so, did he remind you of The Room at all? That guy? I can't remember that guy's name.
It's gonna drive me nuts to look it up here. Let me look here.
But I mean, you know what I mean? Very
Yes.
similar, like just detached from
Out
reality.
There, yeah. Detached.
Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, illusions of or is that what's
Yeah,
called?
yeah.
Like,
Illusions of Grandeur.
yeah, like, I'm this huge, like, important person. Yeah, they kind of talk about that, how he was crushed by he almost got on Cheers. And
Yeah,
didn't
almost.
get on the TV show. He was a struggling actor, maybe never really had a chance, but one of those people that went to California with big dreams and kind of got crushed, and then kind of takes that out into the Alaskan wilderness with a camera where he's like this super important, like, eco warrior that's out here doing really important things and screw everybody else because he's like, yeah. And then he kind of talks, he tries to, I mean, you would gain a lot of experience from 10 plus years out with the bears, but he kind of like talks like he's some sort of expert. Like, here's what you do. Like, you can't show fear. Like, he has all these things. Like, I will become a warrior if I must, and I will stand my ground against these bears.
Well, and he comes up and sucker punches that one right in the jaw, and we're like, dude, you're just like one sucker punch away from his ultimate demise.
I think that's two of the most common YouTube comments I read was, it's amazing that he lived as long as he did.
Yes.
Yeah,
And-
13
and
years
the
worth.
second one was absolute shame that he got somebody else killed with his
Yeah.
shenanigans.
Exactly.
So it says here online that he went to California during the winter and he worked as a bartender in West Side restaurants.
Okay.
So he's a bartender during the winter.
Because they never tell that part. They
Yeah, that seems
They-
like a mission.
they make it sound like he has endless funding, but all of them talk is like, no, he had no money, but yet they show these news clips of him going across the country to these schools and not charging anything to do these presentations and stuff. And I'm going, how in the world is he funding all this?
Mm-hmm.
I just never.
Well, he started the Grizzly People thing, so I'm sure he got some money from that.
Right.
Because everybody will donate to something.
Right.
It's hard to tell what, but
Do you think he had a death wish?
Well, duh.
I don't think he did.
Did he have an unconscious desire for his own death?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, now that.
I think he was just a moron. I
Like,
think he got
wasn't-
away with it once, and
he
he's like,
wasn't-
hey,
yeah.
these bears aren't really going to bother me, so I can get away with this. And I think he hyped it up. And I'm going to base this off the fact that he kept saying, I'm out here by myself, even when he took the girl with him.
Yeah. He
So
bought
so
into
he was lying.
Yeah, he bought into his own ego.
Yeah.
And he knew, he kept saying the bear maze is where it's dangerous, indicating that where he stayed most of the time was not dangerous. And they had tourists that come up there, so the bears were familiar with people.
Right. Yeah, because he had like that camera crew come up there, and that one bear just came right up to him, and they kept throwing rocks at the bear.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so yeah, that's what drove me nuts. Was he swore up and down he was this big advocate for the bears, and then when his camera crew
Yeah.
shows up, he hides in the bushes and just sitting there cussing under his breath. I'm like,
Yeah.
if you really want to protect these bears,
Yeah.
why don't you just go down there and
Yeah.
tell them to beat it?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Or
Ranger thing, like he's doing this he's protecting, but what is he actually doing?
Yeah.
that's the crazy part. That's a great question. What was he actually doing to protect the bears?
That's another comment I saw over and over. Like, he wasn't. If anything, he was, like you said, Dave, like habituating them to being around humans, and that hurts them in the long run.
Yeah.
He wasn't actually doing anything positive for them.
I mean, and this was what I thought when I
He
got
just
done
loved
with it.
them
I was
so
like,
much.
yeah, why didn't he love the little foxes? Because that would have kept him safe,
Right.
and they were a lot more fun, and they were closer to a domesticated animal like a dog.
Mhm.
Right.
He could have been great helping protect the foxes.
Right.
Yeah, his love of the bears was definitely odd. Loved them so much.
Yeah.
Had names for them all.
Well, what I'm trying to figure out is how in the world he would know. Oh well, that's that same bear from last year, and like,
Well, I mean, if he's out there for 13 years, he can figure it out. It's like anything
Craziness.
else. You start to.
Yeah, would have been interesting to have a little bit more backstory on how he even was able to like keep this thing going. Like, what would he just save every penny bartending and throughout the? I mean, it seems like a multi-month Alaskan expedition would not be cheap.
no.
The plane ride and like all this stuff. Like,
Well, I mean, if you save money as a bartender throughout the year and you live cheap, then
yeah,
I did.
California rent though. Would be,
I can't hold it back any longer. The coroner. Did that guy ever take advantage of his 15 minutes
Oh
of fame
yes.
or what?
Yes.
I had two scenes. One when he's talking about the biting and stuff, and his eyes get real big, and he's in it. He's in it, man. He's like, man, I can do this. Watch me act.
I
And
can
then-
have my own TV show.
Yeah. I kept thinking he's Bill Nye wannabe.
Yeah.
He's like, and then, you know,
Yeah.
and then the whole watch scene. The watch scene for me was super painful.
Oh.
I was just like, I'm gonna present you with this watch.
Yes.
And I'm like, it's a guy that got eaten by a bear's watch.
yeah.
What the heck was
And-
that
and-
all about?
And the thing of it is, I love how you could tell it's like partially scripted or he's overacting
Yeah,
because when it's done, they leave the
the
camera,
camera
on,
running, yeah,
and
he
she's
just
just
like-
sitting there looking at the watch, and he's just sitting there like, I'm finished.
yeah. Well, and it still works.
yeah,
And she's like, I'm
Wow.
gonna wear it forever.
yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
He reminds me of the guy. I don't remember what his name is on Saturday Night Live. I'm an actor.
Yeah, it reminded me of Talladega Nights. I don't know what to do with my hands,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna keep talking. And I was just like, wow, did this guy ever just love his 15 minutes of fame?
Yeah,
and
I'm just
stuff.
waiting for him to start quoting Hamlet. To be or not to
Yeah,
be.
gosh. And then the airplane guy that drove him out and back and stuff, I just thought this guy's just like, well, I guess if you're gonna pay me, I will go ahead and say some stuff. And this is where I dropped him off. This is where I found him. Happy to be here. It's a shame.
that-
Let's spread some ashes.
That might have been the only sane guy in the whole.
I know.
Yeah.
You guys know you're still paying
Well-
me to fly you out here, right?
Well, him and the helicopter evac guy.
Yeah.
I loved him.
They never said what his role was.
I assumed he was in like the search and rescue part of it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Clean up. After.
Well, no,
Yeah.
but I mean, he knew about his previous stuff. So the airplane guy, the main guy, flew him out every year.
Right.
But the helicopter and another airplane guy knew about him and knew about the girl and knew the backstory. So he had to have some.
Bit of a reputation. He was,
Yeah.
I just chalked it up to being they lived in a small town like us. And
Yeah,
like
maybe
everybody
just
knew
didn't
everything
do that.
going on. It's like, hey, did you see the knuckleheads back going from playing with the Bears?
he had a little bit of a celebrity going. You know,
Yeah, he was on Dave Letterman or something.
yeah.
Yeah, and CBS News. And
That one guy interviewing was on like, he's like, this is crazy. Just told him straight up, this is nuts.
yeah.
Yeah.
Who in their right mind?
I just can't get past how you justify going onto a Federal Reserve that literally is set up to protect the bears so that
Yeah.
you can further protect the bears.
Because the guy mentioned, yeah, we do hunting permits. We kill 160 out of whatever
Yeah.
number of thousands, down to 10,000, 30,000. And, yeah, that's just part of it. Like, that we issue those licenses, and we've done studies, and we
Mm-hmm.
have decided that this is an appropriate number. And then he asked about poaching. He's like, yeah, that's a really rare thing for people to poach out here. Sometimes people just whip their gun out and shoot a bear just because they don't like them.
Yeah.
But in terms of people like actually going out specifically for poaching, he at least claimed it was a small problem, but you know, Treadwell thought he was
Oh gosh.
keeping an eye on things out there to keep stuff like from that. Like that
Was he ever?
Justin, I gotta
He's
ask.
gonna shake his fist at him. Get out of here, poacher.
Well, yeah, what I think is crazy is he cusses and throws a temper tantrum over all these rules and regulations. Like, look, Poindexter, these rules are to protect you. These are not to just be a hindrance to make your life miserable. They're telling you to stay 100 feet away or 100 yards away, whatever the measurement was, away from these bears, because guess what? They're killer bears.
Yeah, gosh.
And it cuts to him literally like bopping one of them on the nose, like a huge bear, like letting it come right up to him, smell his hand and stuff. Like,
Well, Justin, I have to ask this because I went on IMDb and I looked up Grizzly Man, and I see a video, the trailer for Grizzly Man, and then I see literally right beside it, the trailer for Tiger King. Is there a connection?
Wow. Yeah, that's true. They kind of look the same.
Or is the only connection to stupid being stupid?
huge personalities that are quite possibly a screw loose or two.
Oh, just a couple?
Yeah. Well, at one point, Treadwell, he's sitting there petting a fox or something and talking to it, and he says he's telling him all about his like drinking problems he used to have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gosh.
Kind of seems like his life was in shambles and totally transferred all his like addictive type stuff into like
Boy, did he ever.
the Alaskan wilderness. And one comment I read said this guy took an alcohol addiction, turned it into an adrenaline addiction. So that's what, like, he couldn't stay away from the bears and the danger of being.
Yeah, he just swapped addictions basically.
So get this, in the 85-year history of the park where he was, no visitor had ever been killed by a grizzly.
But-
Firearms are prohibited within the park.
What's the park called? Cat.
Katmai
Yeah.
Katmai National Park. They do, however, allow bear spray.
That's nice.
That's supposed to be pretty potent stuff. I've read stories where in Amazon warehouses where like those cans that fell off the shelf or whatever, and it's like they have to clear the whole warehouse out. That stuff is so potent.
I mean, it's crazy that footage he got of the big bear standing up and rubbing his back against a tree.
Yeah.
And then he goes over there and he's like, looks like an ant compared to where the size of that bear was.
I mean, I have to give him credit. Some of the footage he got with the bears is phenomenal,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like, okay, the rest of this circus, literally a circus, is not really needed. Like National Geographic could probably do just as good a job, and the same number of people leave that came in.
Kind of the way he would, instead of just doing footage, I mean, he would do monologues and stuff. Like, it seemed like he was kind of had it in the back of his mind, maybe he could have his own TV show, like The Bear Man or something.
Yeah.
kind of. What was the guy that got killed by the stingray?
Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin, yeah. Kind of like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's so crazy. I don't know. I go back and forth. You know, this guy's a fool, and he deserved to be eaten. But then again, I mean, nobody deserves that. But
Right.
gosh, he was just asking
Yeah,
for it.
if he was asking,
He was asking for it. Everything he did, he was asking for it, and he
Yeah.
hurt the bears. That's what I didn't like. 'Cause, I mean, that bear would have went on and not had any human interaction if he'd have just left him alone.
Right.
And you gotta know, getting that late in the season. I mean, he even said it in the last couple of takes. You know, these bears are desperate. You know, they're desperate to get stored up for winter. Well, you're a food plate there, muchacho.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's so crazy. He has all this awareness. He's constantly talking about the danger, but then just running right towards it.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times throughout the documentary there's footage of him basically saying, "Yeah, I could die out here." Like, he's always talking about the possibility of getting eaten.
It's almost like he's hoping he does, because then everybody will talk about him forever.
Yeah.
I guess, man. That's a weird documentary to have, but I guess
Yes.
so. So this is kind of neat. It's talking about the early years. His early attempts at camping were almost comical. In his journal, he wrote that he was often cold, hungry, and tormented by insects. And the first time he saw a grizzly, it ran away. And he said he was sad that any bear would find him as a threat. But,
I'm your friend.
yeah. He was rescued by a Vietnam veteran named Terry, whom he had become close to. And after he was discharged from the hospital after overdosing, Terry urged him to go to Alaska and watch bears. So Terry turned him to that.
What'd you guys think of the narrator, Werner?
I think he was weird too.
Yeah.
You know, at the very end, he's listening to audio and he's like, "You should never listen to this. You should tear this up now." And I'm like, "Man, you're telling a distressed lady, you know, what she should do with her own personal property. You know, after you listen to it, of course." But
Yeah. Okay, so I'm glad you brought this up, Dave.
Mhm.
I had to go look and see if anybody had published that audio. I just had to.
Did they?
No, unfortunately. But I do have for a close second Van Deel, which was the bear biologist,
Mm-hmm.
and let me look it up here.
For the listeners, at the very end, there's Timothy left his camera running with the lens cap on when he was eaten. So there's audio out there, supposedly, of that.
And these are excerpts from the audio. So we have from the bear biologist and our buddy the coroner, Mr. Frank Fallico or however his name's pronounced.
Mm-hmm.
They had given interviews to like Reader's Digest and places like that over the when the movie was released of what this tape included. So I'm going to read what was said. The first sounds from the tape are from Amy saying she sounds surprised and asks if it's still out there. Apparently either Tim had asked Amy to turn the camera on or Amy had turned the camera on out of reflex. I don't believe the latter scenario took place for 1 minute, which I will discuss in detail below. At any rate, the attack was in progress when the camera was turned on. The next voice is from Timothy as he screams, "Get out of here! I'm getting killed over here!" Tim was wearing a remote microphone on his coveralls. The sound of a tent zipper is then heard and the tent flap opening. Amy is heard screaming over the background sounds of rain hitting the tent, the wind, and other storm sounds, all mixed in with the bear and Tim fighting to play dead. Seconds pass before Amy yells again to play dead. That's from Van Dale in 2004. Next clip.
Dead.
Yeah. Next clip. Not surprisingly, with Amy yelling and screaming nearby, this seems to work and the bear breaks off the attack. More on this below. A short conversation ensues as Amy and Tim try to determine if the bear is really gone. Being trained as a physician's assistant. Yeah, it is believed that Amy made her way to Tim, and from seconds caught on tape, the bear returns and Amy is forced to back off. Tim then is clearly heard screaming that playing dead isn't working and begs her to hit the bear. And this is from Van Dale and Fallico on 2004 and 2005. The sound of rain hitting the tent along with wind muffle sounds at this point. However, Amy is clearly heard yelling fight back. She is then heard screaming, "Stop, go away," or possibly run away, as the sound of a frying pan is used to beat the top of the bear's head and the sound of Tim moaning. And the last expert here, it is believed at this point the attack the bear let go of Tim's head, which the bear had in its mouth, and grabbed him somewhere in the upper leg area. The sound of Amy screaming very loudly as Tim was clearly heard over the sounds of the storm, saying, "Amy, get away, go away." Tim knew he was going to die at this point and wanted to save Amy from the same fate. And of course, Amy did not go away. And from what I read, here's the last part. As the tape continues to end, the sound of Amy's high-pitched screams rise to a new level, much like what had described as the sound of a predator call used by hunters to produce a distress cries of a small wounded animal, which often attracts bears. Biologist Larry Von Dale for the Alaska Department of Fish and Game theorizes as Amy's screams may have prompted the bear to return and kill her. So her freaking out after the bear got Tim, basically, they believe is what caused her demise.
Jeez.
Which I really can't blame her, because if I just watched the person I was with get carried off by a bear eaten alive, I can't say I wouldn't be sitting there freaking out as well.
Heck with that. Run, baby, run.
Yeah. They'd think I was Forrest Gump because I'd be running.
Yeah. Well, so here's some interesting stuff. So in 1998, he was issued a citation because he stored food in an ice chest in his tent, which you're not allowed to do. And then he was ordered to remove a portable generator from his camp. And he had 6 violations, including guiding tourists without a license, camping in the same area longer than the 5-day limit, improper food storage, wildlife harassment, use of a generator, and miscellaneous altercations with visitors and licensed guides.
Yep.
So he just
Sounds about right.
had all kind of issues.
Par for the course there.
Yeah, with what he had going on. And they told him if they had any more violations that they were going to ban him from the park.
Well, this problem kind of took care of itself, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Man. Oh,
Yeah,
man. I feel bad for the girl.
Yeah,
Amy.
she had no say in it. She was pretty much at the whim of whatever he decided where they're going to camp and how much danger he's going to put her in. She's just like along for the ride.
I was going to say, but at this point, I do feel sorry for her up to a point. I don't feel completely sorry for her because it's not like he held her
It said here that
ransom.
she'd went for 3 previous summers.
Like, she decided, she made that life decision of, hey, I'm going to go live where there are killer bears all around me and literally no way to protect myself for months on end.
Yeah, in the documentary, the one guy mentions that she told him she was like real scared of the bears too. I mean, she wasn't like as cavalier as he was.
Yeah, so you know that's not going to help the situation because they can automatically smell the fear on her anyway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't know. So this has been my dilemma all week. How do you rate this movie? Because this guy's a knucklehead,
Right.
which gives me a distaste for it. But the guy doing the documentary, is just doing a documentary.
Yeah,
He's telling the story, and
That was literally the discussion Justin and I had before you had came in the studio was this guy is going in, once you hear what the movie's about, the synopsis of the movie is like, this guy's a nut. And then after you watch it, you go, this guy's a nut.
Yeah.
But. It's
yeah,
that but.
it's an interesting story,
Yeah.
but it's crazy.
Yeah.
It reminded me of The Room. The guy just is detached from reality. And, and near the end, they had where he does like 4 different scenes where he's giving the finger to the camera.
Yeah.
And he's just dropping F-bombs and, and he throws in one last little F-bomb. And I was just like, dude, that's not helping your case.
Yeah. When I seen that part, I looked at the scene and I said, this guy has finally literally lost it. I mean, at that point, he's at the end of his rope on that.
I did think some stuff he said was funny. I don't know if it's unintentional humor, but like
he said some funny stuff.
the fox stealing his hat.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
That's a very important hat.
Yeah. I was like, well, Doug, you knew that was going to happen when they first started playing with it. I was like, that's just, you deserve, again, that ranks right up there with that. You deserve that.
Well,
Like-
what I want to know is how can that hat be so important to the mission? I was like, it's a hat, man. Surely you brought more than one.
Apparently not. Well, when he got to the frogs down, I thought, come on, put your hand in the hole. Put your hand in the hole. Come on, I want to see you stick your hand in that den and pull that hat out.
Yeah. I guess he would go around to schools and like give little talks to kids about all his adventures too. Somebody said like you shouldn't be putting that example out there in the world.
Yeah, that's just,
kids.
that's basically just promoting stupidity.
Yeah.
Okay, so my thoughts were when I was watching all this. Okay, this guy was a nut. Then imagine how much bigger nut he would have been if social media was around at that time. Imagine him like doing live remotes and live
tweets
streams.
and stuff.
Yes,
Gosh.
with the Bears. I mean, can you imagine just how much more over the top he would have been if he'd had the power of social media back then?
Yeah.
He'd have had a following for sure, but man, what a troop of knuckleheads.
Well, I have to admit, I would probably follow him just to watch the craziness.
So what's Cena think?
Okay, I have a quote from her.
Yeah.
So we're watching it, and we get to the part where the bear basically poops right there in the middle by the river. Of course, I make a joke. Okay, that answers the question if the bear does poop in the woods.
Yeah.
But then he goes over there and starts patting it. So he goes, "Why don't you just eat it and get it over with?"
Yeah.
Gosh.
That was probably the weirdest moment in the whole freaking thing.
And that's saying something.
Yeah. There's some close seconds, but that
Yeah. There's like,
terrible.
there's a fight for a second, but it's like, yeah. It's like you are excited. Like, dude, you do realize, like, literally what you're playing in, right?
Yeah, because he loved the bear, the female bear that just pooped, and he was like, felt like he was getting close to her by touching it.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah. Detached
Crazy.
from reality.
yeah,
Crazy.
it's just, yeah. When she said, I was like, okay, I'm going to quote you on that tomorrow. She's like, I don't care. She said, that's just stupid.
So yeah, I mean, the whole thing about protecting them is just a total rationalization. Like, the reality is, he needs them as like friends, and they're giving him something.
Yeah.
For him, he's getting something out of this whole thing where he's like getting love from these animals in his head. But the fact saying he protects them is just
Yeah. Yeah, saying you protect them in the same breath as you're hiding in the bushes as a camera crew's taking pictures of the bear and throwing a rock at it to keep it at a safe distance. It's one of those, if the animal's dangerous, I don't care what the situation is, I'm not going to take that chance. For example, last weekend we went to Elkins for the weekend. And on the way back, we went to, what's that? The name just escapes me. French Creek. We stopped at French Creek on the way back.
Yeah.
Took Sadie and walked her all the way through it. Well, one of the little stations has snakes. And in my book, a best snake's a dead snake. Case closed. Guess what? They're behind glass, but I didn't go up there to peck on that glass and see how tough that glass was. I just kept on walking. It's like, you know what? Those things are behind glass. I know they're there. I'm good with that. I'm not going to go try to be like like this guy, go protect the snakes, or go see. Because I told Cena, I was like, I said, I don't even look at that stuff. I said, because my luck goes like it would like try to bite me through the glass, and like it would break the glass, and
Yeah.
it's like I'm not even taking that chance. That's just one of my things. But for this guy to go willingly, it's like, hey, these things can kill you. Let's go sleep among them. It's like, no.
yeah.
And then his parents. You know, they showed the clip of his parents.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed a little squirrely.
Well, how can you? Because it's one of those. Are they just about as crazy as he is, or are they just trying their best to not go on camera and go, yeah, our son was stupid. He was our son, but he was stupid. It's one of those. They're kind of in a tough spot because, like, they know the only reason that this crew's here filming is because their son was being stupid and got killed. So,
Yeah, and like his good friends or whatever, they interview them, and they buy right into his whole he was a protector of him thing.
yeah.
Everyone else who's like not close to him like that, they're like, no, he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing any protecting, but his friends are still kind of buying into this thing this story that he wove of himself being this great bear protector. They're spreading his ashes and stuff, and she's saying like, yeah, he was just cared about the bears and he loved them and all this stuff. Like,
Well, then the lady that gets the watch and stand there with the lady holding the ashes.
Jesus.
Okay, supposedly she claims that she's his girlfriend, but yet the girl that gets eaten is his girlfriend. Is like, I don't even want to open that box because, you know, you're led to believe that she's the ex-girlfriend, but yet they play her off as the girlfriend, but then they let it slip like the girl that got eaten with him is his girlfriend. It's like, I don't even want to know. Of course, they're being California. It's hard to tell.
yeah, a little bit interesting that his voice sounded not straight, but he was straight. he was.
Yes.
He had this whole monologue where he said, "I'm a straight guy, and it'd be easier if I was gay. I could go to truck stops or something."
Yes. Like, where in the world did that come
He does a
from?
huge monologue on his romantic issues he's had with women or whatever.
I'm like, well, yeah, you're a nut. You just haven't.
He's like, I don't get it. He's talking to the camera. Why don't girls want to go for me? Got a good thing going.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, teacher over here.
Yeah.
He's
Where
like,
shall we start?
I'm good in the sack, basically what he says. He's like, you're not supposed to say that, but I know I am. I got a great life. Why aren't they flocking to me?
Because you haven't found a person that's just as crazy. Well, apparently he has. That's just as crazy as him.
Yep. Yeah, so you almost want to give this burnt popcorn for him. But yeah, how do you rate it?
Yeah, from the storyline point, but then you start watching it. Justin, I have to applaud you on this one, sir. This is a
classic. I used to recommend this to everybody I knew back in high school. You gotta see Grizzly Man.
Yeah, it's just crazy enough.
Yeah.
Man.
I applaud you, sir. This is
You're on a roll. The Room, now this. Where do you find these people?
Yeah.
How do you search that?
Yeah, I don't know how this one came about. Probably just DVD circulating back in the day and got my hands on it.
Although I do have to, like I said, as soon as I finished it last night, it's like, oh, we're going to have 0 issues discussing this movie.
I think I do feel a little bit more bad for him now than I did back then. My first time seeing it, I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy watching this guy. But now it's like pretty obvious he had some serious issues going on. So you feel a little bit bad laughing at all his shenanigans.
Well, I won't to save save you from getting canceled, Justin. I won't mention our discussion we had last week when we talked about the movie off air. But I would say, for the record, I don't have to disagree because I didn't have to go as far in the movie to reach that point of what you said off air, and I won't bring that up.
Yeah. So I do have a question.
Okay.
At one point, Willie Fulton, the airplane pilot that drove him out there, said Tim was a little smarter than most people gave him credit for. He made it out there a long time before the Bears finally got him. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
No, because I'm almost 36, and I've gone almost 36 years without a bear attack.
Yeah, I kind of think that, his luck just ran out. He was just like a moron stumbling around, and his luck finally ran out.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised the airplane pilot said he's a little smarter than people give him credit for. Because, I mean, he had, like the helicopter guy's like, he's a moron.
I love the helicopter
and
guy.
The airplane guy's like, no, man, he's smarter than what you think. Give him a chance. And the helicopter guy's like, no, he's just a moron.
Yeah.
I don't know. Where do you guys think he falls? Was he actually savvy with the Bears enough to make it 13 years? Or did he just happen to have a lot of lucky breaks?
All you have to base it off of is his own talking about himself. He talks himself up that he knows what he's doing, and he's figured out these ways of dealing with them and interacting with them.
Well, but the thing of it is, if he was a so-called expert, he would have had, he'd went to school or some kind of field of study on this, not just get thrown off a plane in the middle of it and going, hey, look, I survived a year, I'm an expert.
Yeah.
It's
that is a lot of time that he spent out there, so he had to have learned some stuff over the years.
Yeah, but to be a so-called expert, I think that's a little stretched for me.
And to call him smart or just totally fearless and to the point of insanity. Yeah.
Well, and what about the girl? I mean, she'd been out there multiple times for weeks at a time. Where does she fall in this? To continue to go back and to be with this knucklehead. I mean, man. And she's a physician's assistant, so she's no dummy.
Right.
It's hard to be a physician's assistant.
Right.
It takes a lot of work, and you got to be smart.
Well,
intelligent.
Right. And
why? Yeah. What was she doing out there? What?
Yeah. To say, well, I'm going to leave work, and I don't know what what her job pay was, but I'm sure
Mhm.
it wasn't
Yeah.
cheap.
Well, I mean, she's probably taking.
Making pretty good money.
I'm guessing she viewed it as a vacation. She went out and stayed with him for a couple weeks each of the 3 summers, and and then kind of just headed back. But what? Wow, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the chance to go to Alaska for a normal, expedition would
Yeah, it would be pretty
sweet.
pricey.
But like, if I got there and then suddenly the guide is like putting us in
Harm's
extreme
way.
danger, I'd be like, "F this, we're out of here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, be calling the plane guy. Hey, how much does it cost to come get me today?
I just picture him because he said he got in trouble for doing unauthorized tours without a permit or whatever. I could just picture him just walking around with a group of idiots following him.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings up an excellent point. Okay, who's dumber, him or the people that pay money to use him as the guide?
If you want to get up close to him, though, he's the guy to talk to, I guess. Should we rate it up?
I'm still torn. I was sitting here reading a little bit more about the documentary and some of the ideas behind it, just to get it in my own head if this is.
Are we on the right path or not?
Well, I mean, are we rating it? So I have questions. Are we rating it as the value of the documentary? Are we rating it based off of his partedness? Or how do we rate this? I mean, the documentary, I feel like was put together pretty well. It kept me interested.
I think Justin chime in and correct me if I'm
th-
wrong.
this is your movie, Justin, so by all means.
Which do you think would be easier to rate?
Yeah, for me, I can only look at it from how was the movie put together and how well did he tell the story through the documentary form, and for me it can't be any sort of do I like or dislike what was going on here with
The
Timothy
decisions
and his decisions.
Yeah, I mean I kind of want to rate him for his poor decisions,
Yeah.
but it's not him. This is a different person coming in making a documentary.
Right.
So that's why I'm torn.
Yeah, I guess if it seems like the documentary was a fair shake and he
Well, so would you guys recommend this movie to someone else to watch? Would you be like, hey, you should really check this out?
probably not.
And if you did, why would you recommend it? Because I would be kind of like, hey, you got to check this idiot out.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with it. Like, I have a buddy,
Yeah.
I would definitely say, hey, you want to see something crazy?
Yeah.
That's almost the angle is this is crazy. Check this out.
Yeah.
Not this is a great.
Yeah, like if you want to see natural selection at work.
Yeah, he definitely gets a Darwin Award.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I don't know. I think I said it earlier. The way they don't skirt around the death issue. I mean, it's kind of like a non-linear storytelling way. They kind of the documentary opens and then kind of says what's going to happen at the end, and then there's some filling in, and then comes back to with the coroner later. So there's some interesting.
The coroner.
Editing
You got to
choices.
watch it just for the coroner
Yeah.
and the whole watch presentation.
Yes.
So in that way,
Man, gosh. What do you think the guy filming thought when the coroner did? And I'm going to present you with this watch.
Yeah, how do you not just
How did he not? Yeah,
you
start
roll your
giggling.
eyes and just go, you're stupid. Like, I would find
How
myself.
awkward would that be?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think after the camera turned off, he's like, "Hey, man, great job.
yeah.
You presented that watch like a boss.
Yeah.
No one could have done better."
Yeah.
Because I'm one of these people with. There are times where it's very difficult for me to not wear my expressions on my face.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, looking at this, like, y'all are stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how much I'm getting paid. This is just stupid. What? I'd be questioning my own life decisions at that point, going, really?
How did I end up here?
Yes.
With this coroner.
Whoever I may
This
matter,
watch?
whatever decision I made, I want to do over.
Yeah.
Mulligan right here. I need to.
Somewhere there was a crossroad, and I went the wrong way.
Yes.
Oh,
There
I
was
don't know.
reason that road was less traveled.
Yeah,
Because
gosh.
it led me here.
All right, so what are you guys saying? How do we rate this baby?
Justin's your pick, so how do we rate it, sir?
Well, given all the footage, like let's just look at it from all the raw footage, the 100 hours of footage that he had. Do you think they did a good job putting this together in a presentable form to tell the story of this
Yeah.
character?
I'm going to go overflowing medium based off of that. I was at a medium, but now I'm going to go overflowing because I agree with you. I think they did put it together very well.
'Cause you have to edit that down. So there's all this stuff. You
Yeah.
gotta find a way to make it presentable and
Keep you interested. And
What was the running time on this one?
I don't know.
An hour and 43 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going overflowing medium based off of Justin's critique scale there of, yes, it was put together well. Yes, it would entertain someone in the right mood.
Right.
They had to be willing to just sit there and be like, how much of this idiot can I take
Yep.
to get to the end to see what happens.
Mhm.
But I am going to ding it because it just, I don't know. I was embarrassed for everybody involved.
Yeah.
You know, and I agree with Joe in saying at some point the guy making the documentary would have just had to say, for me to be super happy with it, this guy's just an idiot and we're going to just, you know, watch how this scene unfolds because it's so ridiculous. But
Yeah, I think the narrator, Warner Herzog, he definitely doesn't seem to take Timothy's side. Like, I think he kind of routinely says, he kind of pokes holes in his stuff.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, he shows where, you know, he's not protecting them from anything,
Right.
and he's not moving.
he
his
goes and
camp
talks to
supposed
people and gets the lowdown to kind of break through some of the BS that Tim tries to spin.
Yes.
Well, the only thing I had against the guy making a documentary is when he tells the lady she should destroy the audio. I don't feel, you know, you're making a documentary. You shouldn't really impose yourself into
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And that's where I feel like he did wrong, and that's why I'm dinging it, because I feel like he started to impose himself into it instead of just making a documentary.
Yeah, he's trying to change the storyline and it just doesn't
Yeah.
roll out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so overflowing medium for me, sir.
Yeah.
Well, now I have to say, now Dave, since you watched Grizzly Man, you have to watch Tiger King now.
No,
Like,
I do
you've already
not.
started down
I
this rabbit hole.
cannot take it. I cannot.
Trust me.
Nope.
If you was entertained with Grizzly Man,
I was barely entertained. That's why. I mean, I
trust
feel like
me.
this was a decent documentary, but I just can't get behind more than an overflowing medium, and that's only because Justin talked me into it.
well, trust me.
Yeah.
Grizzly Man does not hold a candle to Tiger King. Justin, am I right?
Right. But
I can't handle the awkwardness.
that's a way bigger time commitment.
I almost didn't watch it past the whole watch presentation, just because I was like, this is so stupid. These people are so stupid that I just can't stomach it.
Yeah.
But then luckily they went away from that and went to something else, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm back in a little bit.
This is my goal to, at least some
Gosh.
point that you will at least watch the first episode of Tiger King.
No,
Yes, you have to.
No,
Yes.
can't.
Justin and I we're going to tag team this. We're going to figure out a way.
Seeing Justin dressed up as Tiger King was enough for me.
Well, Justin, we have to work on this. We have to come up with a plan.
No plan.
All right, Justin, you want to rate it or you want me to?
Let's hear your thoughts.
Okay.
Maybe you can. Play.
Okay.
He's like, "Oh, I've got it right
Here we
here.
go.
All written out. 2
Bloody
pages.
brilliant.
You might be able to sway me. I've got my rating in my mind, but we'll see.
Well, I had a rating in mind, and then after we talked, I'm kind of teetering.
Yeah.
Was I entertained? Surprisingly, yes. Like when you told me your thoughts of the movie going in, Justin, I'm going, oh boy, this ought to be interesting, and then it came true within like literally the first 10 seconds of it. And I was like, oh man, we're in for it.
Oh,
and,
gosh,
and
yeah.
the first words I seen in the mouth was like, this guy's an idiot. Like, yeah. So, but from the documentary standpoint of it, for them to basically come out right up front and say like, okay, we're going to talk about this documentary is about this guy that went to live with bears and he got killed. Okay, that you find that out within literally the first 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Any other movie, you get to let that cat out of the bag out front. You're like, oh, what's the point of watching this movie now? But I was able to sit and watch it the rest of the way through. It's like they was able to twist it like you want to watch the rest of it to see exactly how he died and how it all happened. And it's very, very well done. and again, it goes back to when Dave asked the question. And Dave, this is the question that made me change my rating.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it to anybody else?
Yeah.
Like, I have a buddy, definitely, next time I talk to him, I'm going to say, hey, have you watched this? But literally, that question has made me change my thought process, my ranking on this. Because it was going to be I was going to large on this one.
Mm-hmm.
But that question right there made me change. So I'm going with an overflowing medium for Grizzly Man.
Yeah, you almost can't recommend this to like 80% of people.
Yeah.
It has to be like the special group of your friends.
Yeah. So it falls in the category of people that love nature movies or people like watching just craziness, dumpster fire, nonsensical stuff.
Yep, I agree.
So Justin, where do you fall?
Well, I'd say when I first saw it, I was like just blown away by this movie. I was like, this is so crazy. I was so entertained by his shenanigans. You know, coming back to it years later, I'm like, I feel a little bit bad being entertained by somebody who was clearly needed some help and got himself and someone else killed. This is not the best way to entertain yourself watching
I thought you were going to say you actually started feeling bad for him being a knucklehead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. You know, so then... well, I think I probably would have been a mop bucket back then. I'm going to drop it down to a large now.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
It still holds up for me pretty well. Just the unique way that they tell this story, and for the most part, it doesn't seem like a whole lot of filler. They give the context and people in his life that he knew, and fill you in a little bit on where he came from, and throw in other people's insights, and like the people that are like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing this. They threw in quite a variety of different interviews, and then coupled that with his just crazy tirades by himself with a camera in the middle of the Alaskan wilderness, or his interactions with foxes or whatever. Yeah, just the crazy stuff he says is entertaining, and then the footage that he was able to get was like pretty cool to see, even if you'd rather he didn't go out and get that footage if it meant 2 people dying and a bear. Overall, you got to give him a burnt popcorn on his behavior, though.
Yeah,
that's what I came away with.
His behavior's horrible.
When I was younger and I watched it, I wasn't really like as annoyed by that or kind of looked past it. But now I'm just like, this is just terribly irresponsible and the wrong way to. You're not. Maybe back then I thought, well, I mean, if you want to live in the wilderness and that's your thing, that's your thing. But now I'm like, no, you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah,
it's not good for anything.
Now you bring up a very excellent point about the runtime. Hour 43 minutes, but yet there wasn't a lot of filler.
There wasn't any spaces lost.
Yeah, like there wasn't. I didn't find myself going, how much longer for this? It's like once you got past, I'd say probably the first 10 minutes, maybe not even that long. Like you're hooked in, you're in for the ride.
Yeah, it's a ride. It's definitely a ride. So burnt popcorn, Timothy. Sorry, rest in peace. But you get a burnt popcorn, and
but your movie,
the footage you got, and the way they put it together in this documentary, going large, baby.
Nice. Oh my gosh.
So Dave, this sets a very interesting position for you coming off of Grizzly Man. How do you?
How do I rebound everybody back?
Yes.
Get us back to reality.
Yeah. What path literally do you go from here to like completely?
Did you find my movie?
No.
Oh.
I tried.
You're killing me.
I know. I tried.
This is what happens every time. Justin puts me in a bind, and then what I want to drag us out of this misery of a movie we had to watch, I can't get. So then I have to make an alternate plan, which just stinks. All right, reign over me.
Is that Don Cheadle?
Don Cheadle, Adam Sandler, 2007.
All right.
Let me see.
You got Hulu, Joe?
Yes, but let me see if it's like. I'm checking it here. They make sure like it's viewable, not like an add-on kind of deal.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen this one or not. I'll find out once I start watching.
It's kind of, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, it's on Hulu, so you're good.
Okay. Reign Over Me with Don Cheadle, Adam Sandler, 2007.
All right.
Yeah. Kind of a hidden gem, I feel.
So, and I'm just looking at the picture here. I've not seen this movie. With it being an Adam Sandler movie, I'm going to say it's not like his typical slapstick.
It is not.
Okay.
It was that. So, this is what I'll say. This is Adam Chandler's breakout that was never recognized.
Okay.
And I'll say it was Don Cheadle's main role that was never recognized.
Ooh, so this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, Jada Pinkett Smith, Liv Tyler, Donald Sutherland.
All right.
Yeah. Pretty small crew cast, but you know. See what you guys think.
Yeah.
Since my other movie's not available. Okay. All right, take us out of here.
We're done.
All right. So for more news and reviews, check out our website at beentherewatchthat.com. Follow us on social media at BTWTpod. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast, Been There, Watch That. We're on all the major platforms, and all of our episodes are hosted by Anchor.fm.
All right. Well,
Next week, Reign Over Me.
Reign Over Me, Adam Sandler, Don Cheadle, 2007. We'll be back. And Justin?
We've been there. And watch that.
So for myself, Joe, and Justin, we'll be back next week. Join us, Reign Over Me. Don't forget to submit the fans' choice movies. We always like that. We'll be back to that in a couple weeks. And everybody have a great week.